clouds all around. Can anybody take me home and cure me of these aching bones? We can now, can't you tell? Freezing in a broken shell by myself, spinning into vertigo, driving when my eyes are closed. Was it dead or was it dreaming? I stopped breathing when all I really needed was this feeling. No more lies if I disappear. Just one last light on the chandelier. If I begged you and I pleaded, I don't mean it. Nobody can hear the words that I'm screaming. No more lies if I disappear. Just one last light on the chandelier. Sleep, don't you see? Everything's so incomplete, bittersweet. Just tell me how to break this code. Don't you see the bruises glow? Window seat, held beneath, frozen but I feel the heat, burning deep. Somebody tell me where the angels go and save me from the dead. Just one last light on the chandelier. If I begged you and I pleaded, I don't mean it. Nobody can hear the words that I'm screaming. No more lies if I disappear. Just one last light on the chandelier. Chandelier.
Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange. Let me ask you a question. You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on.
I guess, yeah.
So how did we end up here?
Well, we just came from the,
Think about it, Ariadne. How did you get here? Where are you right now?
We're dreaming?
You're actually in the middle of the workshop right now, sleeping. This is your first lesson in shared dreaming. Stay calm.
Will Mark Sargent go VR? Welcome to a special Saturday night edition of Flat Earth Fridays. How are you doing this evening, brother?
I'm pretty good. I'm excited to be here. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Please share this on social media. Give us a like if you're interested in this content and get involved. Please, jump in the chat. Let us know how you're doing. Share with us what you think of these topics. And also, please leave a comment below so that everybody else can get involved too if you're watching this after the fact of the live stream.
Yeah, we've been busy with secular work, but Jaren said some things that we just can't let go by, and we got to go through them. So we're going to be going through a recent live stream that Jaren did, and we're going to be talking about Mark Sargent and whether or not he's going to go full VR. So he came out originally with the Flat Earth Clues, where he postulated everything from a game design standpoint, and which is great because that is right in line with what we've been saying, virtual reality. He's actually even speaking the words virtual reality now. So he's sort of caught in between two worlds. He's caught in between the pressurized pizza domers, the Dave Weisses, and now the newly formed globies like Jaren and Pat and Robbie Davidson. We're going to be getting into all that juicy drama that's being served up by what the people we call fake flat earthers, right?
Yeah, I mean, so much has taken place. We've been busy doing the best that we can, just trying to keep on top of things, making sure that we're following along with the narrative. So again, let's just do a quick recap. About almost 9 years ago, Jason and I both discovered that the AE map model didn't work. Right. We started sharing that with the world. I personally did an hour and a half live stream with Jaren Campanella, showing them the ways and the reasons why the AE map didn't work. And it had to do with the path of the sun. And he mocked me, ridiculed me, kicked me out of the community, made fun of me, called me all the names under the book, started creating crazy lunatic theories like coffee cup caustic. He started putting magnifying glass domes on top of his tablet while rotating a celestial, basically the stars, trying to make them spin backwards. Called me every name in the book. Jason, before you even met me, also had a Skype call with David Weiss, and then he brought Jaren in, and then you showed him the fact that the sun rose due east 90 degrees and set due west 270 degrees, that this is impossible to have a sun circling around Polaris. So we both went through this. You were then ostracized and kicked out of the community. And lo and behold, all these years later, you now have Jaren Campanella, who deified his name and calls his cult channel Jeranism, now has turned to the evidence that we showed him 9 years ago and is going around telling everybody that there is no possible way that the earth could be flat. And this is why. When we showed him that, yes, absolutely, the earth is flat, stationary, and it is measurable that way, and that we have to understand how the different coordinate systems work with the way that the luminaries work, and as well as ground-based observations. So now, because Jaren was built up, verified by YouTube, while everybody else was completely censored, I lost my YouTube channel. It's gone. I only live stream now outside of Awake Souls, still with the Team Yahawashai subsidiary, on Rumble channel, and that's the Limitless channel, and I do Rise and Grind podcasts over there. I was kicked off. Jaren rose to the top of the fake flat earth community while pushing that we lived in a single polar point pressurized pizza dome, while fighting against us, while promoting the Club of Rome as his map and logo, which he still has, only to now flip. And now he's going as hard as he possibly can. Supposedly, he is now fighting the flat earth. He's teamed up with characters as like Red's Rhetoric and other characters in that community who Jason and I have said for 8 years that Jaren has always been a globe earth believer. He was faking that he was a flat earther because he hates the Bible. He hates the creator of the Bible. And his entire long con was that he could tie the AE map and model to the Bible and then debunk both of them. And it's called Fundamental Truth number 2 in the description box. Lo and behold, here we are, 2025. It was last spring. Coincidentally, after we had started to show people how there was a 24-hour sun in the north and the south on our map and model of a flat reality, Will Duffy came out and started the final experiment. And as soon as Will Duffy came out, characters like Patricia Steer came back onto the scene. And we were there. We've been documenting this the entire way. We've got all of the timestamps. We've got all of the screenshots. We've got all of the evidence. And if they didn't delete my channel with over 1,000 videos, we would have had a lot more evidence to bring forth. But we still, luckily, also, I'm going to throw it back to you soon, Jason, have a combined channel that's called Beyond Flat Earth. And over there, we documented how Jaren Campanella created a fake experiment that was going to be absolutely proven to be debunked before the final, what was it called? Beyond the Curve documentary that they created to smear flat earth. We were a year ahead of it, showing everybody that Jaren Campanella from the Jeranism show was faking that he was a flat earther so that he could make the truth look like a mockery. And lo and behold, he was in the documentary. Jason had Will Duffy on and exposed him that he was creating a documentary. The whole thing was a setup hit piece so that he could try to destroy flat earthers. This is my last point, Jason. What Azazel, Satan, the adversary, what is against all things that are true, what it does is it just needs as small as a mustard seed, just like the truth. It only needs a little bit of doubt to creep into your mind. And with that, it grabs a hold of everything that it can and rips it down into the darkness of despair, lies, and deception. And that's where we find ourselves today.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of nailed it all. I think I had like 10 talking points in my head that hit every single one of them like perfectly. So I don't want to reiterate all that. One of the things I want to point out is that Patrick, Pat CIA, whatever you want to call that character, they first accused us, or maybe even me, as being the reason why they left the community, and now they're talking about how the community is so bad, it's so toxic, nobody can stand to be around it, and so all this infighting is staged, it is created, it's done within same team situations where they fake fight and they get fake offended and all this kind of stuff. When we speak up and actually hit a nerve, yeah, we do trigger a lot of people, but what we really want to do is we want to keep this out of the personal narratives, out of the characters, and we want to keep this on topic of discernible, measurable reality. Like, we want to look at the numbers, we want to look at the models, we want to look at the facts. And so there's a character like Mark Sargent that, you know, we've battled against for many, many years, but now he's coming around to the same position that we've been at the whole time. And we don't want to fight, we don't want to antagonize. Mark, when you watch this video here, we are reaching out to actually be able to come onto Strange World and talk about being in a virtual reality with you. All we want to do is we want to share our evidences that we've gathered over the last 7 to 8 years that we think are the best evidences that we're in a virtual reality, and talk about it, because you, from a game design standpoint, you've talked about it, and what we want to do is find common ground and leave personal things out of it. We won't be on any sort of character assassination missions, anything like that. Just talk about virtual reality, because this is the model that's not going away. It's the model that actually shows the path of the luminaries to 100th of a degree per second on a fixed and stationary plane. And yeah, we want to just keep putting this information out there, because once again, it's not going away.
So, you know, just to interject, I know I had such a long rant, had to set everything up correctly. So in the beginning, Patricia Steer was a person that came onto the scene, and unfortunately, Mark and Jonathan made up stories, said that she was a CI plant, and caused all this stuff where it looked like, you know, we had to document what they were saying. They still continue to say these things. Mark wore the CI patch, but we're at the point now where, after the final experiment took place, what we predicted with fundamental truth number 2, that they created the AE map and model, the straw man argument, so that they could debunk it, and then also debunk the Bible, we are left with the situation here where there's only so many people left that actually are willing to still believe and fight for the fact that, yes, the earth is absolutely still and flat, and that the properties of water alone can show you that there's no possible way that you live on a spinning sphere. So what we have left here is we've got Mark Sargent, who, whether he was duped or not, we don't know. It looks like Patricia Steer was brought back and she got involved in the show at the exact time as the final experiment rolled out. We've got timestamps. We're going to go over those tonight. And then after Jeranism went and did his final experiment, Patricia Steer and Robbie Davidson, who has been long gone for a very long time, who has now flipped. And they're now saying that they don't believe in flat earth. Robbie Davidson is going as far as saying that the biblical cosmology is a lie. So the Bible is now being brought up and being debunked by these characters, by Robbie Davidson himself. And we see Strange World as a possible place where they're actually still wanting to fight for the truth. Mark is adamant that he will die. He wants to become a martyr for the truth. Those are Mark's words himself. So I'm hoping to team up. I would like to do a podcast on the Strange World podcast with Jason, and who is DJ Curious. And now they've got Lizbeth, who's filling the Patricia Steer spot now on the podcast. And we would like to go over virtual reality. We'd like to come up with a whole entire, talking points and show them what we see. And I would love to hear feedback. I've reached out to channels like Kingdom in Context. I've been reaching out to everybody that's left that still believe that the earth is flat. And we may not all agree on every point, but it's time that we start to work together, right? We start to actually come together, put our differences aside. We don't need to continue to fight. You've got characters like David Weiss and Jaren Campanella, and the both of them have models where they're not willing to waver. David Weiss believes that he lives in the single pole pressurized pizza dome, whether it be an infinite single pole pressurized pizza dome with other suns circling around other ponds. And then you have Jaren, who will only argue that you live on a spinning sphere. We are trying to find people who are still looking for the truth and that are open to actually hear more evidence and ideas. And we have those to share with people. So if you're tuning in and you run a podcast, let us know. We'd also be interested in coming on your podcast. I know, Jason, you're going to go on with Tofar, another group. He's connected with Owen Benjamin, and there's a whole crew over there. So we're reaching out, actively looking to work together with people, especially now that people can see that what Jason and I have been saying, especially about Jaren, that he's always been a glow believer, and every single thing we've been saying has actually come to pass. And that's only because we recognize the patterns and we're actually here for the truth, right? We don't have t-shirts for sale. We're not selling coffee mugs. We don't have any way for you to join any channels. The only thing that we want is like-minded people who are interested in finding the truth. And Jason, we don't have it all figured out, and we've been working our asses off for a decade, coming to the understanding of going out and actually filming things, testing things, seeing how the distance to the horizon actually works with the respect to angular resolution. We've been understanding how we're the only spot in the realm right now where we can actually show you physical evidence of how this place breaks down into a virtual reality, how things on the large and small scale turn into pixels, how you can film clouds behind and in front of the sun and the moon, how you can film so many things, how you can just observe simply the way that the parallax works from the sun, the way there's no parallax in any of the constellations or the fixed stars. There's so many interesting things that we want to share with the world, and we're just looking for people that are like-minded. We don't want to constantly have to go to war, but we will. We are not afraid to get in front of a crowd. We're not afraid to stamp and put anybody up on the hot seat and show your words. But what we're actually looking for are like-minded people who just care about the truth and that are passionate, just like us. That's all we've ever wanted. And I'm hoping that Mark Sargent and DJ Curious and Lizbeth and other people out there like them are actually honest people that are like us, that are just looking for the truth.
Yeah, we've had major breakthroughs even just this year. Like you mentioned, angular resolution. We've now just this year really come to understand how we can use it to prove and disprove different things. The distance to the horizon formula, we've really gotten that dialed in. having 2 scale projections of the coordinate system. That's something new this year as well. So we've continued to learn. If you go back to what we were saying in 2016, 2017, a lot of it's similar, but it's definitely been refined, and we've learned things along the way. That's the way it works. When you dig in and research things, you'll pick things up. And
so
we like to turn around and share.
Exactly. And that's what you've been working really hard. And we get comments like people don't like the word virtual reality. They generally, like this blown spokesman have said, it makes people think that it's not real. Now, you're confusing the word simulation, right? Because in a virtual reality, it's very basic. Have you heard of meta? Right? Are the people that put on the glasses and the VR equipment and go into meta, are they real? Right. So when we're trying to explain to people the difference between a biblical virtual reality and a simulation is like a copy of something that it's not real. We don't use that term now. In the beginning we did, before we had continued research and evidence to back up the things. Like, now we understand that it's a stereographic, which means 2 poles, because you can't have a single pole when you actually have 2 polar points in the sky that everything rotates around, not one. This is another thing that we've been sticking our post into the ground and saying, hey guys, come on now, everybody in the flat earth, stop fighting against what we can actually measure and test. So it's stereographic because there's 2 poles, right? And it's biblical because we have evidence that the scriptures prove that you live in a virtual reality. The light was created before the sun and the moon, right? The fact that the earth hangs upon nothing, yet it's founded on pillars and has 4 corners. So how do you have a 4-cornered structure that's upon pillars that's hung upon nothing? Well, that's very easily when you understand how you make a virtual reality inside of a 3D programming system. We don't have all the answers. Again, it's very, very complex. We could only just gently scratch the surface over a decade. And Jason, you've actually been at this for probably longer, like 15, 20 years. You understood, was it 2012? You had the breakthrough that you were in a virtual reality, right?
Yeah, and that's the reason why I created the Awake Souls channel, was to be able to tell people about it. I came to the realization, and then I wanted to turn around and share it. And so there's different ways that you can come to a conclusion that you're in a virtual reality. I originally did it through the path of non-duality, which seems like a rather obscure route to go to figure that type of information out. But yeah, I come to the conclusion that Earth was a virtual reality like in late 2012, and then I really knew it by early 2013. Just my contemplations, all of a sudden, when I didn't allow duality to exist in my mind anymore, all of a sudden things started to straighten out. So that's one of those, it's like throwing a monkey wrench into the gears as soon as you add duality. So yeah, I didn't hear about flat Earth until probably late 2015 or middle 2015. And yeah, then I originally fell for the pressurized pizza dome, which made everything physical again in a way. They were talking about having this dome, the sun doing horizontal circles around a single pole. And, I didn't think to double check that the people that were waking us up to a fixed and stationary Earth were trying to mislead you into another rabbit hole again. And it wasn't until I started trying to model it. I decided I was going to fight for this fight, and I wanted to be able to show people how it was working. I went to 3D model it with SketchUp, and all of a sudden, boom, the sunrise and sunset angles became instantly obvious that the sun's not doing horizontal circles around a single pole.
Mm-hmm. So, and there's so much detail. It's incredible. So the scripture that states that the handiwork of the Creator showeth through the work of the skies, the story that goes throughout the night sky from east to west, right? The ecliptic path, the line that runs throughout the entire realm. It's beyond complicated. Okay. It's taken us over a decade. We're still learning. We don't know everything. We do understand Things like the phases of Venus, somebody's brought up. Now, the phases of Venus are what people that believe in heliocentrism, that everything's spinning balls, spinning around other balls, and everything turns into nothingness on the large scale and the small scale. They're the ones that argue that the phases of Venus actually debunk geocentrism. Then you have heliocentrism, which is that everything spins around the sun, and then the sun spins around the great giant attractor, what is it called? The Milky Way, which is the galaxy that we're in. And then we have the pressurized pizza domism that teaches that the sun and the moon and the stars all circle horizontally above us, which has absolutely been debunked. We teach, right, that we live in a stereographic biblical virtual reality, and depending on latitude, equidistant circles of the luminaries are tilted based on our latitude, circle around each observer. And that means that there's not multiple suns, right? Everything is based off of a coordinate system that can be absolutely plotted, scaled, and mapped depending on where you are. You can easily measure these things without baseline changing or curving. Go ahead, Jason. I think you're ready to take us into the next stage of the podcast. You're muted. Thank you about that. Yeah, we got it. He's got it. I don't know how they muted his mic. It's the second one over, Jason's mic.
All right. I should be back.
You're good.
And yeah, so the three different explanations for day and night, the spinning balls Ronnie covered, the horizontal circles. This is the one that we told Jaren and all the other single pole pressurized pizza domers. This isn't what's happening. Jaren's gone and confirmed it. The equidistant circles tilted based on latitude. This is the one that has the sun, moon, and stars rising from the plane and setting into the plane in a person's circle of sight. And that's only possible if you're in a virtual reality, because how else could this gaseous fireball that everybody else thinks is going on be coming out of the plane? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through Jaren's podcast here, Behind the Nerve, where he's sort of doing a critique review of the podcast that Mark Sargent did recently. So we're going to be going through a lot of flat earth drama, and we're going to try to straighten this whole thing out. Mark's going to be talking about virtual reality, and we're trying to get on and have a conversation with Mark Sargent. So hope you reach out and we see your comment from you, Mark, after this podcast. Brother, stop me anytime you want. Some of these timestamps are a little bit longer, so we'll sort of just work through them in pieces. But let's get into this.
Is another story altogether. We're going to be talking about Behind the Nerve. It is a strange world indeed. Oh, look how cute little Dearth on the shoulder there. Never listened to the Dearth side. But Tales of the Cult, how to protect the cult at all costs, was kind of appalled at tuning into Strange World, which was last night. And if you listen to it, you can tell it was very awkward. The reason for that is, if you did not know, I'll kind of catch you up, that both Robbie Davidson from Celebrate Truth and Patricia Steer both had stepped away from Flat Earth. Both had made, well, Robbie had made a post on Facebook saying his reasons, and Patricia Steer had sent a email to Mark giving him his reasons.
Let's get a pause.
Him her reason.
So again, it's here's the setup. So Patricia Steer quit Flat Earth because narcissism. Right, that she tried to blame. There was a big article written about Jason. It was about you. You were in the article. I couldn't believe it. She quit Flat Earth and did it with deleted her entire channel, right? Came back, all right, and just came back when the final experiment started. When Will Duffy was announced, Patricia Steer came back out of nowhere. Robbie Davidson hasn't been back. He hasn't done one podcast. So if people want to know the truth about Robbie Davidson, is he was caught up in a cult of two things. One, veganism, which is the cult of Pythagoreanism, which is absolutely satanic. And two is very unhealthy. Many people who were raw food dieters have died. We've been tracking it for years, and we've made many videos and gone through podcasts crying out to people not to follow these satanic diets, right? So Robbie Davidson was a vegan, and a very, very sick one, as well as Patricia Steer. Both of them were very, very sick. And Patricia Steer quit, deleted everything on her channel, right? Gone. Robbie Davidson quit, stopped doing everything. He was the Flat Earth Pope, had the Flat Earth Society logo, got verified, rose to the top, came out of nowhere, bought all of his subscriptions, bought all of his channel, ran fake Bitcoin scams, drove across the country stealing money from people on Bitcoin, quit Flat Earth, has not come back, but obviously somehow Will Duffy has convinced him to write a post on Facebook saying that he quit and that the Bible is wrong, that biblical cosmology is wrong. And that's where we are here. Patricia Steer has since come back, put all the videos back up onto her channel. Now she's deleted them all again. And now she's doing it because she says that she doesn't believe that the earth is flat anymore.
Reasons. So that's basically how it all started. And then tuning into the show, it seemed like they had quite the agenda. And I don't want to say that the entire 2 hours was lies, but at least an hour and 57 minutes was. So it's close, but just dirtbag, just dirtball, just gross. And again, this is the problem with a cult, and they cannot have people leave the cult. So they.
All right, I just want to interject here. Cult is a word that Jaren likes to use now. And so what are some of the signs of being in a cult? Well, usually it's supposed to benefit the cult leader in some way. And let's count the ways that Jaren can benefit here. So he's got the join. You pay him to join his channel. You can donate with crypto here. You can shop Jeranism here. He's selling things. He's got his shop. Let's see, Patreon. So support options. You can Patreon them. You can credit card or debit card them. You can Cash App them. You can PayPal them. You can mail them checks. And yeah, so if you're gonna have a cult, you gotta have some sort of incentive. Yeah, I mean, you gotta get the 99 wives, or you gotta get paid, right?
Yeah, you have to have somewhere to join to be in a cult. Now, does he have the comments turned off?
The live chat replay is not available on this video.
Did it say comments turned off?
No, comments are there.
Okay, but no live chat. Thank you.
They did what they could to try and protect it, but we're not going to let them lie about the three of us. There's no money exchange. I mean, these guys are going around telling people that we've taken money, and they'll even say at the end of the show, "Oh well, now that we've exposed their plan, just make sure you don't fall for it." Basically, telling people, watch. Those guys left because they were paid.
Jaren literally has said publicly that Will Duffy pays more than David Weiss did. Publicly, Jaren's own words.
But just wait until we get to who the sponsor of this podcast is. It's going to crack everybody up.
Can we bring this on the stream again? 1 second. Let's discuss something real quick. Number one thing, don't lie about people. That's pretty easy. Number two thing, we have to think smart. For everybody who keeps falling for this person's paid off, this person's paid off. I want you to really think about what you're saying. Imagine that I am a flat earth believer, and I'm doing videos, I'm doing whatever. And then so what that would take is the government would have to approach me. Okay. Remember, this is the biggest lie in the world. They would have to approach me and say, "Hey, Jaren, how you've been doing those videos about flat earth?" Well, you're right. The earth is flat, and we're the government, and we are willing to give you $10 million to keep your mouth shut. For number one thing they just did was they exposed their hand. Is the government going to tell people the lies that they're keeping from them? No. It doesn't even make sense. So what people have to believe is that there's all these agents out in the world that the government can't even keep track of. They're just paying people millions of dollars and just letting them go run amok. And like they can't go to a friend at a dinner and be like, "Hey, the government came and told me the earth is flat. They gave me $10 million. You might want to tell people." How's the government going to stop that? Why would they reveal their hand? You guys are so naive to the way the world works. It's just not the way it works. They don't.
All right. So he sets up this straw man scenario. The situation that we've been saying exists from the beginning is that they created a false dichotomy, fake flat earth that was initially rolled out in 2014. And you got guys like Jaren, Eric Dubay, Mark Sargent, all these characters that have promoted this model that is very, very debunkable, in that they've tried to tie it to the Bible. So we've seen that they've starred in many mockumentaries already, and we believe that they've been paid and are going to be paid for this final false dichotomy psyop as well. And Jaren himself actually, he gives you the clues all the way through this thing. Let's go to a message from the sponsor here real quick.
Sponsor?
Yeah, this is a message from the sponsor. You always got to shout out your sponsor. Let's check this out.
Flat Earth would have something left, but it has nothing left. Okay, let's start out real quick. I just want to make sure that we have a sponsor for today's show. Don't want to get far away from that. Let's bring that up. Not that one. We got to go here, and we'll be right back after this message from the sponsor. Thank you. Appreciate it.
What are you waiting for? Get the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and leak your data for months with little to no attempt to secure the Leak and Zodiac Clock app. The #1 way to give your data to hackers. For just $3.99, you can make sure your passwords and home location are available worldwide for any hacker who comes along. Prefer your data remain private? We suggest a different app. However, if you don't care who knows where you live or who has your banking password, then this is the app for you. Small disclaimer, the app is no good south of the equator, which is only half the Earth, so that's not too bad. Please do not use for directions, sunrise or sunset, any angles or anything in the south. However, it does tell the time, so that's cool.
So, remember, everyone, this is the app that has been promoted by all the fake flat earthers all along.
Yeah,
right?
the whole time. Years. Jaren has been promoting this for years. So we were the ones that told them that the sunrise and sun angles don't work. Sunset, rise angles don't work. Not only that, we told them that the app was tracking people, and Jaren and everybody else continued to push it. Like, now all of a sudden Will Duffy comes along. Now the app is evil, and it gets even funnier. So apparently Witsit gets it. What did they say his IQ was? Like 170?
Yeah, it's probably like 10,000 according to these people. So,
Witsit's the smartest guy ever. He's like way above even Owen Benjamin. So get this. So that app, right? Jaren had people hack it for him, like he's been doing since he was Bitcoin thieving back in 2013 or 14. All those links that Jaren had up where he was, supposedly over hundreds of thousands of dollars stole Bitcoin, that's all gone. And anyone who brings up that evidence, he calls them liars. So he had someone hack the app, and apparently they got everyone's passwords. And just after that happened, Witsit Gets It said he had all his Bitcoin stolen. So I'm thinking, wow, so Jeranism was involved in a Bitcoin scandal back in the day, way back in the day. And he knew that he could get everyone's password. So apparently Witsit's password was the same on the David Weiss app as it was in his Bitcoin wallet.
So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, right?
Yeah, or ABCDEFG or something. 1 2 3 4. So Witsit got robbed probably by Jaren himself, and they're going around blaming David Weiss. But I come on, who puts the same password on your Flat Earth app as? And not only that,
your crypto wallet, right?
So while we're on this topic, really quick, David Weiss literally goes around and teaches high school students that the Earth is a pressurized pizza dome, and also at the same time infinite pond Earth with many suns and aliens living outer pond aliens. Outer spaces are the ponds beyond our pond. And he gives this app to the kids for free that tracks them. And they try to set up meetups with minors, with underaged kids. And again, Jeranism was the one who had baby truther shows with them all as dancing babies. So it goes deep. This setup that Jaren is now against gets really dark really fast. If you search on the Awake Souls channel, you can see we've got 20 hours of documenting all of the disgusting, dark, deep connections. Why in the hell is David Weiss teaching disinformation to high school kids? Who okayed this? Who thought, yeah, this is a good idea? Let's send the guy with the funny nose in to teach them all about how the sun circles around in the outer ponds. Who thought that this was a good idea? I want to know.
Well, maybe Mark, because I think he goes on to say in this podcast that
I hope not. I'm hoping Mark's real. Mark's got to be a real guy, Jake. Come on, we got to try to give Mark a chance now. He's fighting.
I know, but he is proud or happy that Behind the Curve's being played to high schoolers as part of their curriculum. So similar type thing there. Let's keep going.
Not to speculate and throw people under the bus. So we want to make this very clear to people that you should feel comfortable if you want to change your beliefs. It's okay. It's okay. You can do that. It's allowed. Even though Mark says in this video that it's impossible for somebody to believe something for 10 years and then flip. That's what he says, unless they're paid off, which is very strange, because what you should do if you have a belief for 10 years and you find out that your belief is wrong, you should change your belief. That's the point. But not according to...
I mean, hold on. Like, how many times should we bring it up again and again? Jaren, we literally showed you. I showed you 8 years. I tried to save you 8 years. This is why we were able to prove that you were actively lying and setting the flat earth up to fail with a single pole pressurized pizza dome that throughout this podcast, you're going to see, hopefully we don't have to see too much of it, but Jaren will say that there's only one map. There's only one possible way if the earth could be flat, completely setting up the false dichotomy. This is how they do it. This is how evil, corrupt, wicked men have done it. They've only given you 2 wrong choices and said, here, pick one, left or right. That's all. They don't give you straight or back or up or down. They just give you left or right. And we've showed, and I showed Jaren myself 9 years ago, and now he's flipped and he's saying, I'm here for truth. I am willing to change and accept that I was wrong. When, we showed this guy 8 years ago. I showed him, and I didn't even know Jason, and then you showed him. It's just, right now is my chance too. Jaren, if you're watching, turn your hat straight. You're not a teenager anymore. You're a 40-year-old dad now. Start acting like a grown-up. Pull your pants up. Stop smoking so much dope. Grow up. Let's have a debate. Me and you, Jaren. But you're too afraid. You're too cowardly, right? All you want to do is sit behind your screen in your protected little area and mock everyone and tell them, oh, you came to my channel so I can do whatever I want here. Why don't you come publicly out, put your ball earth where you think it is, and show everybody, me versus you, virtual reality versus sphere ball earth. Me and you, Jaren. I'm publicly challenging you to a debate. Now you're going to be a coward. I don't watch Jason and Ronnie. Their content sucks. You're going to say every lie under the book. And during the debate, I'm going to show everybody that I showed you that the sun circles around a southern pole, right? That you then now take and beat other people up. But the difference is, Jaren, I can still prove that the earth is flat and stationary. And you know what? You know it too.
Absolutely. So here we're going to get into Pat's goodbye letter. Go ahead and stop me anytime you want, brother.
And Mark wouldn't play it, right?
And we are finding it. All right. How many texts do I have in here? Okay, here we go. So I'll start reading this. This is starting right here. All right. Here's what I sent. And it wasn't responded to. So Mark read it, but didn't respond to Patricia. So it says, Mark, if you have a minute, I'm having serious issues regarding flat earth. I'm going to have to bow out of it. I know I've done this before and probably sound crazy. Please don't be mad. Let's just remove me from Strange World for good, not for a break. My reason is that I have doubts about flat earth now. We thought in the past we had science, and now it appears we don't. After 10 years, there's no actual working model. Joe Hamby's model is great. He's also a really nice guy, but it relies too much on speculation. There is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. The AE map is toast. It only works some of the time. That's not good enough. I can't stand behind it anymore. After looking into this for a while, I don't solidly believe the Earth's flat. I could be wrong, of course. I don't want to cause a commotion and create drama. This isn't about me, so I'm not doing anything but pulling out of being a spokesperson for flat Earth. I'm not going to be a promoter of the globe or flat now. The southern pole system shows the globe. The sun is moving in Antarctica like it would on a globe. In Antarctica, the sun spots were in the globe predicted positions. The sun even moved right to left. These are things formerly that I didn't believe were true. The Antarctica trip showed me otherwise, especially with the 24-hour sun. I went over rocket launch video Jaren did February 10th that I sent to you and Chris Van Maitre who is a land surveyor and often on Globebusters, Tech, and was a good friend of Bob Nodell and Cami. He is respected in the community and does long-distance photography. He measures things for a living. We both can't justify what happened in the video. I'm not saying Chris went globe. I don't know his position on the issue. I haven't forgotten what I've learned about lasers, how we see too far, etc., and how water is flat. But I think there's some other explanation for that. As I said before, I could be wrong. So please remove me from your show lineup. I'm not coming back. I've been thinking about this for a while, searching my heart to find a solution to this. All I can find is I was wrong, and it's my...
So another thing that Jason and I have been just beating the living darkness out of all of these liars and deceivers is something called the vanishing point. You're going to hear it mucked. You're going to hear it mumbled and fumbled and tripped over from both sides, globe earthers and pressurized pizza domers. Okay. We have what's called the vanishing point. Okay. It has nothing to do with curvature. Actually, it goes completely against curvature. Curvature of the earth is 8 inches squared per mile, and it gets really drastically more curved the further away from you it gets. What we have is a measurement to our vanishing point, which is calculated due to our angular resolution. It is the height of the square root of the height of the observer, right, times 1.22459. And that gives you how far you can see. And also in the other direction, something can be seen from. So all you need to do is plug in the height of a building, right? Then you can create a circle around that building, what is called the vanishing point of that building, and you can see that building within that circle, right? And whether you go inside or outside of those measurements, you will either see something or you will not. That's what causes stuff to look like it's disappearing from the bottom up, right? Because that is the way that it works. Now, it does not work on a sphere, because if it was curvature that things were actually vanishing behind, they would be angled away from us. Their tangent line and angle would be leaning. So again, there is not Chris Van Matry. When you hear somebody talking, oh, I know the earth is flat, I can see too far, instantly you should have an alarm going off. Angular resolution, vanishing point, vanishing point, vanishing point. Robotham, they did the Bedford level experiment. Over 3 miles, they could see a boat took down the canal with a flag, and they could still see the flag at 3 miles. The globe earth argument, I think his name was Watson. He wasn't satisfied with the experiment. So they went and they had a lighthouse, and they went further and further away from the lighthouse, and they could see less and less of it until they couldn't see the lighthouse anymore. Thus, they concluded that Earth was a sphere because of this measurement, because of this observation. When in realistic form here, what we've done, Jason did what's called the Mall Angel video on his channel, which was inspired by the vanishing point, and the perspective that we've been sharing with people is what is called angular resolution. And it's the height, the square root of the height of an observer times 1.22459. That gives you the distance that you can see to and be seen from. So if anybody tells you that they can see further than that, right, what they're doing is they're actually setting up a globe earth proof. They're going to tell you that that's because of refraction or hyperlooming, right? They're going to tell you that stuff is somehow magically being hoisted up into the sky, right? Like magnified, right, Jason? I really hope people understand what I'm saying here. It's very basic.
Your lighthouse example is such a great one. So a 100-foot tall lighthouse, the square root of 100 is 10. That's a simple one. Times 1.22459 tells you that a 100-foot tall lighthouse can be seen from 12.2 miles away. All right, so the light doesn't go on forever. If we were on a ball, you would see that light up above you, right? You would be on a curve and you would see that light going around you, but it's quite the opposite. We're on a plane, and that is the limit of angular resolution, and you have to be within the 12.2 miles to be able to be seeing a 100-foot tall lighthouse, right? Even at night, even with the beam shining. Mm-hmm. The closer you get, all of a sudden that light starts to come up in the air. Mm-hmm. This is the way perspective works.
Exactly. So it looks like YD is stating that she doesn't believe the language being used in this letter is conducive to what Patricia Steer would use. Words like toast. Blown spokesman is stating it seems that Duffy has sort of created a form letter that gives people who leave flat earth. So what you've missed there, blown spokesman, these are people who have been pretending to be flat earthers So when they leave, he's giving them a sort of point by point letter that they can then use, supposedly. And there's going to be more of these supposed debunks, and we're excited till they get them all out so that we can actually hammer them back. Channels like Austin from the Melodome has never been mellow. The guy's one of the most toxic, putrid energy characters who never believed in it. So a lot of people, they became flat earthers. So I myself, I was lucky that someone shared it with me in a Google group, a hangout group that I was in when I was exposing government hoaxes, psyops, right? I was called Event Skeptic. I skeptically looked at the media and the events. And so I was brought into the flat earth topic like 2014, 2015. So I've seen everybody come and go. It was popular, right? People wanted to be a part of this cool movement. You had a group of people that came in that were biblical people. Robbie Davidson was one of them, but Robbie Davidson had toxic energy. He came in and he would not take correction in any way, doubled and tripled down him. Characters like Rob Skiba, who came into the movement kicking and screaming. Rob Skiba hated flat earth. Rick Hummer hates flat earth. Rick Hummer actually got to interview Dick Hummer, right? Got to interview Neil deGrasse Tyson as a fake Roland Reddy handicap character, mocking flat earthers. All of these people, it's because we haven't been here in a while. We've been working, and we don't accept donations. We actually build things to make money so that we can do this. This is our passion project. I'll tell everybody, okay? Listen, no one can get up high enough in the sky. Okay, you can't do it. The way that the reality that we're in was created, there are limits. Okay, you can't push off of nothing. Air pressure ceases to exist at what height, Jason?
250,000 feet. It goes to 0 psi.
So listen, you can't get up high enough to take a picture of what the shape of the earth is. It's definitely not a sphere because we can get high enough and there's no curvature still. So you can't get high enough to take a picture. Everything that you've seen has been faked. Okay. There's no proof of curvature. The fact that water alone, whether it's in a glass of water, whether it's in a pool, whether it's in a lake, or whether it's in the oceans, which create what we use as a baseline here to measure elevations off of, which is sea level, we are comprised of mostly sea, oceans. We live on the islands, 7 giant islands. We live on 7 big islands, right? Throughout the seas that are all flat. So we have this topic that's raging along. And what happened is atheism was born out of the idea and the concept of a big bang that created everything from nothing. It gave them a creator to follow, to believe in nothingness. And once the Jesuits ran their stories, ran their schemes, used things like the phases of Venus, they used things like the path of the sun, and they took those observations and then they tried to state that makes the ground curved, when we can literally, again, measure the fact that a glass of water, a lake, a pool, an ocean, all remains level. We can build things off of the properties of water. What you have is the atheism that was born out of the lie. They faked the moon landing so that they could create atheism. So nobody here is able to prove that they live on a sphere. So they have to have characters that come along and pretend to be flat earthers and then flip. And what Satanism does is it needs just the tiniest little crack of darkness to invade your light, to envelop. A little bit of doubt. A tiny sliver of doubt to enter into your mind. Well, maybe the creator said that, he didn't say that you surely would die, right? You're not going to die. He didn't say that. He meant that if you eat this, you'll become like him, right? So the same lies, the same things that take place have been pushed throughout the community. And simply because there is no evidence that we live on a spinning sphere. Listen, Jaren and Will Duffy will literally look up into the sky and see the sun moving, measure the sun moving, see the sun tilting, see the moon itself flipping and tilting depending on latitude. And then they'll tell you that they live on a spinning, moving, wobbling sphere, and it is the sun and the moon that are stationary. Now, I ask you on the other side of the screen, why is it do you think that they do that?
Absolutely.
I rest my case.
Let's get through Pat's goodbye letter, and then we'll take our first break. We got just a little bit left of Pat's letter here.
My fault, no one else's. That's a decision I have made for myself, and I won't push it on anyone else. I'm going to privatize my old Flat Earth videos on my channel and turn it into something else. I wish to act with integrity. I have changed my opinion based on new information that has been presented. If you want, you can say I did a globe flip. I'm okay with that. You can read this on air if you wish. I think it would be a great idea. You can share this with David Weiss or anyone. I'm not a glober. I'm still me, but with new information. I'm a truth seeker. I don't want to simply believe anymore. I have not been paid, threatened, or compromised in any way. Your friend, Patricia Steer. Then says, she then sent it to Robbie and Chris after that.
Hold on,
So
pause
she's not
it. I'm
calling
sorry.
herself-
I gotta say this. This is the other thing that cracked me up. I know it must have cracked you up too, Jason. Robbie and Patricia Steer used the same lines in their flip letters. Right? And so, Jared's got to somehow try to justify that this is normal behavior. So it would be like this. Jason tells me, hey, Ron, that's it. I'm not going to be a flat earther anymore. And you read your story to me and I go, that line right there, Jason, it says you're not compromised. Can I use that line? It sounds good to me.
Can I use it?
Can I borrow that line?
No, that's copyrighted. You can't use that.
Are you kidding me? The two of them could have come up with their own line that Robbie was like, that sounded really good, Pat. Can I put that in my post too? I mean, who believes this stuff?
A flat earther anymore. She's saying she's not a glober. She's not a globe believer yet. She says she's shapeless. She has important things to do in real life.
Pat's shapeless,
and
like a blob.
She's been disappointed with the community, as have many people. So, there's a reason why somebody wouldn't read that on their show. If they're trying to push a certain narrative and they don't want people that watch that show to hear what she just said, right? So it's not a very cool thing to do. And then when you hear the things that were actually said and the blatant lies that were ladled throughout this video, you'll see that it's an issue. Okay.
That's an issue.
One of the things.
Wow. Oh boy. Let's go ahead and take a break here. And when we come back, we'll get into the good, deep stuff, fun stuff.
'Cause I've been slow dancing in the dark. Hey, you were lighting up the sky like a superstar. Always been my hero when I was too afraid. I can hear you saying, son, life is tough, but you're never on your own. Call me when you're lost and missing home. I'll be there. But suddenly I've come undone. I didn't wanna know, and it felt so wrong. But I was terrified, 'cause I've been slow dancing in the dark. It breaks me that I was not around. Angels fall when they're all alone, but I was blind and slow dancing in the dark. Slow dancing in the dark. I never thought I'd watch the tables turn. Wasn't ready 'cause I still had so much to learn, to be a guiding light. I wanted you to know it wasn't my intention to turn you down. You needed me to get you off the ground, but so did I. 'Cause I've been slow dancing in the dark. It breaks me that I was not around. Angels fall when they're all alone, but I was blind and slow dancing in the dark. Slow dancing in the dark. Just give me one more chance to show. I promise that
And we are back.
That was again a great brand new track just for everybody tuning in. Listen, we take the power back from mainstream radio as well as the mainstream media. Okay, music sucks nowadays. That was Slow Dancing in the Dark, performed by All Together. That's a brand new band. You'll be able to get the link underneath the podcast to all the music we play each and every podcast. I'll try not to talk so much, but I got to tell you guys, this content is really fun for me. Again, you got Mark on the screen. I'm hoping that Mark is a real guy. When I heard him saying that he was willing to be martyred for the truth, that he lived in a flat world and that he was talking about virtual reality, that to me spoke to me. That spoke to me. That made me feel like, you know what, maybe I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. And that, I thought Mark was a CIA asset or an agent trying to destroy Flat Earth. There's a chance that I was wrong and that Mark actually does care about the flat earth and that Lisbeth and DJ Curious also too care about the flat earth. And I'm hoping I was wrong that Mark was a bad guy. I think Mark might be a good guy.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out. So let's see, a couple timestamps here. Pat and Rob use the same language. Let's get to Robbie's goodbye letter now.
Okay.
We'll sort of stack these.
The other thing YD said, Jason, was that, if you have to say, quote, I'm not paid or compromised. Doesn't that say that you're literally paid and compromised?
Yeah, the section I just skipped right here was Jaren talking about being compromised. Yeah.
Well, you tell me you're compromised and paid without telling us that. You just say, I'm not compromised and paid.
But it'll come up many, many more times. So we'll just keep getting through this.
A lot of people have 826 comments, which we don't want to go through those. They get a little bit crazy. Guys, as a flat earther, it is not okay when somebody says I'm changing my belief to just attack them and say nonsense to them. It's just really, really a sign of a cult. That's what a cult is, right? A cult doesn't let you leave. And look at what happened. The three people that have left, or the three people, myself and Robbie and Patricia now, have been cast as some paid off operatives who took the money, who sold out, and then they basically are running with that story. It's just nonsense. As if you can't change your mind, as if you shouldn't change your mind when new information comes to the plate. All right, so this was on February 24th. It says, I've spent a decade of my life organizing 4 Flat Earth International conferences, a book, and a YouTube channel with over 150K subscribers. But the evidence from the final experiment team in Antarctica has shifted my view. I didn't go to Antarctica, but I've dug into their observations, a mix of flat earthers and globe supporters, and I'm choosing to trust what they documented over wild ideas. They documented over wild ideas like they observed a plasma ball or some cosmic deception in the sky. It points to a globe, and it's really hard to see how any flat earth model, especially a biblical enclosed model with a dome-like firmament, sun, moon, and stars all spinning around.
All right, so this is Robbie saying it's hard to see how any flat earth model, especially a biblical enclosed model with a dome-like firmament, sun, moon, and stars all spinning around Polaris, can fit these 10 points. All right, so this is Robbie Davidson. He's supposed to be biblical flat earther, now saying that he doesn't see how it's possible.
Fundamental truth number 2 in the description box, fulfilled.
Polaris can fit these 10 points. 24-hour sun. The team recorded the sun circling the sky for 24 hours in Antarctica, upside down and moving counterclockwise, opposite to what we see in the north. I believe.
Okay, yes, the sunspots were upside down, right? That's what we talk about. Depending on your latitude, the observations of the objects in the sky will be inverted. Not you. You're not going to be upside down, Jerry. No. Okay. Stick with us.
In these clowns, they just use this left to right, right to left. I mean, this is like the oversimplified 4-year-old preschool, left to right, right to left. If you really want to be talking about the phenomena, you have to talk about how it's the sun went to the south of, rose from southeast, set to south of west, not this right to left, left to right stuff. That drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm. And then what do they mean? Like, you're not allowed to leave flat earth, like YD saying. What does Jaren mean? Anybody could do anything they want. None of us have guns to our heads. Like, what was it, Nathan Oakley? Where are the guns, Nathan? Nobody's got guns to anyone's heads. Everybody follows the desires of their hearts.
Yeah, like we can keep somebody from leaving here, right? Everybody has the free will to show up if they want to, leave if they want to. In fact, we end up spending more time getting rid of people just because, they're trying to shill.
a trick. On a flat Earth, you'd expect a clockwise path or a sun that sets, so this is a tough one to square. 24-hour moon. The moon is visible for 24 hours upside down and counterclockwise too, compared to the north. Flat Earth voices have argued that there's no 24-hour moon down there, but the reality says otherwise. A flat map struggles to explain that motion. The South Celestial Pole. The team filmed stars rotating clockwise around a southern point in Chile, the opposite of the north counterclockwise spin around Polaris. Flat Earth voices have doubted this exists, but I trust that the team caught on camera. A single northern hub can't account for two poles. Sunrise and sunset direction. South of the Tropic of Capricorn, they documented the sun rising in the southeast and setting in the southwest. I believe that's the sun's true path, not a fluke. A flat Earth model has a hard time bending sunlight to match that, unlike a globe's tilt.
What?
The South Pole.
Everything's just being straw man to the single pole.
Very important that they brought up globe's tilt, because the globe's tilt destroys the globe model. Right? It creates an impossible sunrise, sunset, due east, due west twice a year on the equinoxes, and actually places what could be a 9270 sunrise and set at the solstices, which is absolutely antithesis of their actual model. So thank you for pointing that out, Robbie.
The tilt is what gets them.
Pole. The team had someone at the South Pole while others were at a nearby camp. Flat Earthers claim it's not real, but I'm going with the team's account. A flat Earth doesn't have room for one southern point. It's all edges. And if you want to see what's left of flat Earth at this point, you should watch the debate between Nathan Thompson and Will Duffy that they just had on Modern Day Debate. And Duffy was simply asking Nathan to account for the observations that we made. And he
Nathan was selling blankets.
Because there is no accounting for it. That's why we know the Earth's not flat. This is not a question anymore. We've been shown the things in the South that prove the Earth cannot be flat or debunk the idea of a flat Earth.
What?
And we'll get into that in a little bit.
We'll get into it too. We had the model that predicted it.
As I've said, if you want to watch an interview.
Yeah, the thing is, everything that you're hearing these clowns say is our argument against them as flat earthers. That they're now flipping. They've taken our argument and they're now using it to supposedly prove a globe. Do they know what's going to happen when we meet in the public square? That's like Jaren learning my combo. Guess what, Jaren? I've got another 3-hit combo that adds on to the other part of that combo that you're not going to be ready for. I'm going to knock you the f*** out. Can't take my fighting moves. You're going to get destroyed. This is like watching children steal other kids' toys. You guys look like a bunch of bumbling fools right now, winning because you guys think you debunked something that we debunked a decade ago. I mean, how hilarious is this? I mean, and of course, you got Jaren, who hates the Bible, literally said that Jesus Christ can suck his you-know-what. Jaren, this is literally, you guys, this is what he said. And you got Patricia Steer, who is a vegan hater of the Bible as well, and Robbie Davidson, another vegan. It's obvious. You can see the lines as clear as day. And I'm glad that they're actually standing upon what they believe, because that gives us an opportunity to show the world the truth. I'd rather that. I'd rather Jaren now not pretending anymore. So are we going to get to the point? So he had his flat earth store Globe Earth witchcraft store where him and Missa were at a desk and they had their Globe Earth on the desk. Jaren has never been a flat earther. He's been lying. Now he's actually telling the truth, right? This is good. This is a good thing.
Yeah, we'll see if we get to it.
Review I did today, I pointed out quite simply, and again, nobody ever listens to this, but there is no other map. Stop being deluded and thinking that another map will exist or come out of somebody's ass. It will not. There is no.
What? This is what Robbie said? Robbie's.
No, Jaren's saying that there's no other map. Stop.
I thought he's reading deluded. This. His cursor's moving. It's you.
Yeah, he's interjecting right here. And so we've been on the Baby Truther show, showed the stereographic projection. This has been around when he first talked to Will Doofus. He said, well, Jason and Ronnie, they have a map and a model, but it's virtual. They think nothing's real. Like,
yeah, nothing's real. So listen, you have an infinite amount of possibilities, limitless. When you have a coordinate system, you can shape and manipulate that coordinate system any way you want. You can still, there's not, the fact that he's saying there's either a ball or an AE map and model is all the evidence that the viewer, you could turn it off now if you were a skeptic, whether you thought Jaren was being honest or not. alone, that point alone proves that Jaren is a lying, deceiving, dishonest con man who's using a false dichotomy to push people into Satanism. It's obvious, okay? It is simply obvious. Again, there's the moleweed projection, equirectangulars, there's sphere Earths, there's the AE projection. I've studied the cartography. I could list limitless amounts of ways to describe a Cartesian system, a coordinate system. The fact that Jaren is unwilling to discuss these things, he is showing you his hand.
Yeah, so the difference between the actual 2-scale onion projection and the moleweed, it's not that much different. So you can actually see the way the land masses lay out on the face of Earth, and this is the closest 2-scale that it can be projected. And you know, it's awfully similar to the Club of Rome logo that he's been using the entire time. He never used the AE map and AE map as his logo. He used the Club of Rome projection, right?
Still has it. It's the closest to the moleweed, right? That we're showing. This one right here. Jaren, is this a flat Earth map on the screen? Jerry, open your eyes. Stop smoking so much dope. Look at the screen, okay? Look at this one. Jerry, put the joint down. Put the dope down. Look at this projection of Earth. Is this a sphere? Is this a sphere? Do you think that this map is curved in any way? It's not. It's flat. All maps are flat. Go and listen to Nathan Oakley. He'll tell you that, okay?
No other map, because we know the order of the continents, we know the Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer, and we know the equator, and we know the continents, and we know the North Pole and the North Celestial Pole. So once you put those down on your
There's another map, Jerry.
it's the AE map. It'll never be different.
And that's the most accurate one.
I'm back to reading Robbie's post. Distance between meridians. They measured longitude lines in Chile and Antarctica, showing them closer together south of the equator.
They didn't. Hang on, pause it. I'm sorry, Jason. We're not going to be able to get through all this. This is going to have to be a doubleheader. Maybe we'll be back Wednesday to get through the second half of this. They didn't measure. So when Will Duffy was or was it MC Toon? They did their podcast going through their evidences and proofs and their experiments that they did, their observations. They didn't show them measuring. They didn't show the actual measurements. They just said that the lines of longitude get closer together. But we agree. If you're taking two polar points in the sky, right? We have what's called the stereographic biblical virtual reality. Stereo meaning two, not mono, not single pole, stereographic. And to have two poles in the sky and then to map those onto a flat Earth, you actually have to have two poles on the ground. And the way that works is the lines of latitude, right? And the lines of longitude have to actually get closer together, right? That's how it works.
Not shrink, making this a real puzzle for that view. The Southern Hemisphere flights. Hold on 1 second, I'm making sure. Okay, good. We good? I think so. Southern Hemisphere flights. The team confirmed nonstop flights like Chile to Australia exist. Many have said that they don't, but the evidence disagrees. Flights from New Zealand, South Africa, and South America reach the South Pole in similar times. I believe that they're real. A flat Earth cannot collapse those distances so neatly. Crossing Antarctica. They learned from staff that people have crossed Antarctica, showing it's a continent, not a wall. I'm taking the staff's word over doubts from the community. A flat Earth, endless ice barrier, or shoreline doesn't align with that kind of journey. Weight variation. The team found things way differently in Antarctica due to gravity shifts, as predicted. I'm convinced it's legit physics, not a
shifts.
A flat Earth
Now he
doesn't
believes
vary
in
weights like that.
gravity.
A globe shape does. Shadow measurements. They filmed 360-degree shadows from the 24-hour sun. I believe it's the sun casting them, not some illusion. Flat Earth shadows wouldn't circle like that. They'd stretch or vanish under a dome. Those 10 points make it incredibly tough to hold on to a flat Earth, especially the literal biblical model with a dome where
Especially the literal biblical model. I mean,
especially.
yeah, they're just throwing the Bible under the bus right now.
everything orbits Polaris. How do you fit a southern pole, a counterclockwise sun and moon, shrinking meridians, or flights to one spot from sprawling continents? I'm not saying it's foolish to try, just that the evidence from Antarctica leans hard towards the globe, and reconciling with it with a flat model seems like chasing a mirage at this point. Once these experiments wrapped up, the majority of the flat Earth community spun some of the wildest explanations to dodge the results. Some claimed the team had never went to Antarctica, others insisted they did but filmed it all in a CGI studio, and a slew of absurd, even borderline insane, conspiracy theories popped up to reject the reality of their boots-on-the-ground evidence. Some even went so far as to be convinced that it was Satan himself going around the final experiment team as a deception, rather than just admit it was literally the actual sun they observed on the continent. Many flat earthers now shrug and say it doesn't matter, even though a core pillar of our belief, I was there from the start, was that the 24-hour sun in Antarctica couldn't exist.
Freemason.
Never, yeah, core pillar. Like this was never. That's not how you prove that you're on a fixed and stationary plane. Nope.
Dismissed it as impossible, but the team proved it's real. It's time for a lot of flat earthers to face the world as it is, not as we imagine it.
As it is? That's what it says on the AE map, right?
I'm now convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was wrong about my worldview and cosmology. The evidence from the final experiment team in Antarctica has settled it for me, and I feel total peace with this shift. I'm excited for the next 10 years, free from that debate, knowing I've wrestled with every flat earth argument, every talking point, and even the hyper-literal biblical lens I once held, where a dome and circling star.
Hang on. We got YD had him in the chat, and she questioned him about how the Bible says the earth is fixed and immovable, and he said he doesn't believe in hyperliteralism anymore, right? Crazy. He doesn't believe the Bible is what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't believe what it says.
Stars fit so neatly up north. I'm no longer a hyper-literalist when it comes to the Bible and creation. The South, with its 24-hour sun and all the points above, unravels that view completely. We can agree to disagree on Scripture's approach. Much works literally in the north, but it falls apart down south when you see what the sun truly does. People deserve to know why I've left flat earth behind, and I've laid it out above in those 10 points. I wish everyone the very best in their own search for truth. John 14:6. So, let me see. It looks like let me bring this up. So there's.
All right.
Gross. See you later, Robbie.
Let's jump up here to 2844.
So let me tell you this story because it's kind of sad. When I told Dave Weiss about his app having leaks, because I was told by these Globers who messaged me, one of them was in my VIP, and said, Jaren, the app is not secure. We're able to get in. We're able to see these things. And I said, okay, I'll tell Dave. So I told Dave, and he just kind of shook it off. And oh yeah, I'll get it. Yeah, okay. And I'm like, no, it's supposedly they can't really. It's a spiritual attack. They're just, it's Globers. They just hate flat earth. I'm like, no, they're actually saying that they can actually get to people's data. They can actually see the data. He didn't want to hear it. A day later, I heard again, somebody says, no, we can actually hear some user data. We can pull their data. We can pull their information. We can pull even their longitude, latitude. And I said, well, thank goodness you don't have the exact location. You just have that. And they're like, no, you'd have to check on that. So anyway, I told Dave, they've got people's longitude, latitude. And he just kind of said, no, whatever. It took a whole week until basically about 6 days after, I got a picture sent to me of my house. Okay, for 7 years, I've had to work on keeping my location private. It's not the most difficult thing in the world, but it was able to do that.
Why?
And
why?
What is he afraid of? Hey, just so everybody knows, Jaren actually called Jason's ex-wife. Called her, trying to get Jason's ex-wife to give dirt and information on Jason. And you wonder why he wants to hide where he lives. What have you done to people, Jaren? What have you done? What have you taken? What have you conned and scammed people? Everybody, that's pretty creepy, right? That he called your ex-wife like that, bro? That was gross. That was like super creep.
Yeah, but does anybody remember the days of growing up with phone books?
Yeah.
All you needed to know was somebody's name and it would tell you the address.
And their phone number. I mean,
right.
What is he hiding from? It's crazy. This is crazy. It's the whole thing. The fact that, so he paid somebody to hack David Weiss's app while they were best friends and partners profiting together. He paid somebody to do that. Then he took the password from Witset's account and then robbed Witset his own Bitcoin. That's Jaren's other partner. What's going on here with these group of people? What's going on? What is going on?
That's the reason why he's got to hide where he lives.
And right away I knew, like, oh great, now this has been exposed. So I called Dave. Said, Dave, dude, they have my home address now. And he said, well, you don't know they got that from the app. I'm like, no, I do. The guys who are looking in the app and say that it has holes and there's no security at all, they found my address. Yeah, but you don't know that they got it from the app, Jaren. It could have been, maybe you left it somewhere else. I'm like, Dave, I worked for 7 years on keeping it private. What do you mean? Where are they gonna get it from?
For 7 years.
I don't know.
Keep it.
I said, okay, well, whatever. So the next day, they messaged me again saying, Jaren, it's still open. He has not done anything. And here is your password. Sure enough, it was my password. So I'm like, all right. So I called Dave again. Dave, dude, they have my password now. You have to do something. You're just leaving people's information out there for everybody. Well, if they really have it, then they can give me my password. Okay. So I go back to them, say, can you give me Dave's password? They gave it to me. I called him again, told him the password, and he said, oh, okay, I'll get on that. And then from there, he supposedly did something, but what I'm hearing from the people that have app access or whatever, have API knowledge, is that it was just like pieced back together. He changed everybody's password by adding 4 digits to the end of it. Things that are not normal practices for securing an app. And I think I pretty much know what happened. It's that Dave, used an Indian app maker from the beginning, and it seems that he's stuck with the same app maker right? through this whole process. Well, I think, remember, when it started, there was no user database. So the person who built the app probably does not have any knowledge of security, because if you're just building an app with a clock on it, there's not much to hide or not much you need to do. But as soon as he started adding the people profiles in the chat and people's profile pages with their longitude, latitude, at that point, they needed to implement some sort of security function. At the bare minimum, you need to hash people's passwords, right? So that if somebody does get into the app, they don't get the actual password, they get a hashed out version of it, and they don't have the key to basically unencrypt that. Instead, these were just plain text passwords in the system. People like Austin Whitsitt had his crypto stolen because somebody got a hold of his password, and it looks like he used the same password on the app that he had in his banking or on his Coinbase, and they were able to steal from him. So
the same app, the same password that you use for your flat earth app, use it for all your banking, all your crypto, like everything, right?
Wow, I can't even believe. How could Jaren read that with a straight face? Come on, everybody. Get out of here if you think any of this is real. Come on.
All right. Let's go to 3821.
And you can check whether SunCalc matches the sun angle for wherever you're at on the Earth, and it will match. So sure, you could get down to Antarctica and say, well, we're not really sure if it matches down there. Right, that's what we went down there to check. But let's say it doesn't. Well, there's still no way for it to span out from that point into a 90-degree southern pole that's everywhere. So these are questions that prove that the Earth is not flat, cannot be flat, will not be flat, ever. Let me explain again. In order for the flat Earth to ever become true or become the working model that people around the world would use, it needs to be able to explain the world better than the globe model. Now, when I thought that the South was a lie, and I thought there was no 24-hour sun and that the sun set down there, and there was no stationary South Celestial Pole, that was still a possibility, right? Because if we went down there and the sun set, right away, now we've got a competing model. Now we've got some work to do, because now the globe has been falsified, and we need to verify that the flat Earth works in every other way, in which point it would have taken over as the de facto best description of the world. However,
we've had that for a long time. So that is the Andrew Marsh that he likes to use now. This is the Andrew Marsh that's on a fixed and stationary plane that has the luminaries rising and setting from the plane in a person's circle of sight. Now this right here, you can actually import 3D models to it. And you can actually use this for calculating where the shadows are going to be, how the light's going to shine in a building. This is actually used in the architectural world for designing buildings.
The solar panel industry.
Yeah. Now what he wants to use is the Andrew Marsh, the same data that we're using on a flat plane being applied to a globe like this. The issue is that now you can't import the models. It doesn't show you anything. And well, he's going to show it in a little bit. But so the tilt, we keep on saying the tilt is the killer of the globe model. And you can see that at the equinoxes, there would be no 90 degree, 90 degree east, 270 degree west. Sunsets, what they have to do is they have to stand it up straight in order to do that and take the tilt away.
And they also have to slice the sphere and create a flat plane of Earth, and then measure their angles to the sunrise and sunset from that flat plane. Not only that, was when you move the observer here up and down, as you move up and down, and the sun has to rise and set into the sphere, right? They don't have it rotating around the outside. The other issue is that they don't have to minus or add their tangent line for the curvature of the Earth. So as Jason moves it up or down, you actually just simply have to subtract. You see how they have a flat plane stretching off the Earth there? You see that, everybody that's tuning in? There's a flat circular plane that the sun is rising out of and setting into. So they took the actual real observable data that we've been showing. There it is right there. And they've plopped it on the side of a sphere, right? It doesn't work in any shape or way or form. The stars that you see around us that we're looking at have no semblance to the actual constellations, nor can anything be discerned or measured. This isn't a model. This is a joke. It's a flat Earth slapped to the side of a sphere, and the tilt is what debunks it.
Yeah, the sun is fixed and stationary. It's not moving. Actually, every single thing in this would all have to be moving in order for any of it to be accurate.
Spin the time, please. See what we're trying to explain to everybody that are you on the equinox?
Yeah.
So there's no way that you'd have a due east and due west sunrise and set with the Earth tilted like this. It's simple, right? It doesn't work. I'm sorry. You have to zoom in again, Jason, and show everybody. This is the way that Andrew Marsh had to fudge, just like they have to fudge other things in science. They had to change. They have to stand it upright. They have to tilt. They have to basically nullify the tilt to make it look like it works.
Yeah, we'll go to the equator right here. And so here's your sunrise and sunset. You can clearly see that it's tilted. Now, if you want to get in closer, what did it do?
Boop.
It stood
it straight up. All of a sudden, the tilt's not around. They're basically hypocrites out of both sides of their model. One, it's tilted, and then when they want to show you how it works, all of a sudden there's no more tilt, right? Astromutt, get to work. MC Toon, get to work. Fight the fat Earth, get to work, and build you an actually working, correct model. And we want to see the sun moving. We want to see the moon spinning and moving. We want to see the Earth flying around that. We want to see everything with the constellations and Polaris and Sigma Octans and the Southern Crux. We want to be able to measure it all to 100th of a degree per second. And if you guys can't do that, shut your channels down. You're all a bunch of blibbiting liars. What do they call it? You're all a bunch of nupties looking like clowns, taking flat Earth measurements, putting flat earthism on the side of your sphere, and then going around championing it. Jaren's like a big tough guy, but he won't debate me. He sits behind his channel with his hat on sideways, stoned on pot all day because he's nothing but a dope head, like a 15-year-old kid thinking that he's won some fight here. And he's a clown, and he won't come out of his little controlled echo chamber and actually debate me, because I'll knock him out in real life, on a podcast, whatever you want to do. I'll take him on any single day. He's using our arguments. He can't use our combos and think that he's going to win the fight. You're going to get George St. Pierre, buddy. It's a joke. I mean, who's tuned in here? Who is tuned in here and actually thinks that because Will Duffy took Jaren to Antarctica, right, and all of a sudden everything that Jason and I have been telling him for 8 years is now true. He believes it, Jason. He now believes everything that we told him. The only thing he's done is he's added curvature. And one more thing I want to point out here before we move on. Robbie Davidson looks creepy. He's got some. Can you zoom in, please, on where it says Robbie Davidson in the middle of your screen? What kind of an icon is that? What is he doing? He's got his Fu Manchu. This is a Christian vegan here who's now flipped from flat earth. Like, add some color to your face, dude. You look like a vampire. Scroll over to the right. Flat Earth International. What do they call them? Upward Rising Earther now. I want everybody to understand Jaren specifically kept Will Doofus's personal messenger up. Why? All you got to do is click on that and hit the X, Jerry, and that would close it. But no, everything is because Will Duffy is the one who got the handoff. Guess that his protege, I guess the Freemason Grand Poobah, Bob Enyart, who was anti-Cerveza, and then all of a sudden the Cerveza got him. He's not with us no more. And he was also a staunch globe earther who fought against flat Earth. We haven't brought that out yet, Jason. People don't know about, Bob Enyart, Will Duffy's mentor. When you brought it up to him, he's like, I don't want to talk about that. You're an asshole. I should have listened to everybody. I should have never come on to your show. Yeah, because we got all the timestamps of Will saying that there wasn't going to be a documentary. He was never trained classically to become a pastor. Every single possible thing that he said was a lie and that wasn't true, he's gone and done. Right? Including the fact, why does Jerry have Jesuit Jerry, why do you have Will Duffy's picture on the screen? Why do you have his instant messenger on there?
He's probably got it on the wall It's probably going to be on his garage door at the new house that with the 3-car
So,
garage.
yeah,
right?
someone said he's got 2, Robbie and Patricia. So if he gets one more to flip, he gets a 3-car garage, they're saying, right? I mean, this stuff just never ends.
I think Jerry's going to bring up Andrew Marsh right about now. Let's check it out.
If what we had gone down and saw in the south was what we thought it was, a sun setting, no south celestial pole, then the flat earth had a running. It had a chance.
A
But
running.
when that gets disproven,
Cool
there is no
runnings,
more flat earth.
bro.
It's time to
He's
put
got
it
pot
away.
on his head.
It's time to move on to other things. We can be adults
Oh,
and
yeah.
say, oh, we were wrong
Okay,
about that.
Satan.
Now let's look at things that
Good
we
luck.
learned. Let's look at
Surely
some other
won't die.
anomalies. But we need to accept that the earth that we live on is a
Anomaly,
sphere.
yeah.
Just the way it works.
It's
If you're
not a
talking about,
sphere,
I
clown.
just talked about earlier that you need to supplant the globe by better explaining reality.
We have it.
And at this point, that will never
have
happen. Never.
What?
It won't even come
We've
close.
done it.
Okay. For instance, you can look at the sunrise
Okay.
sunset times, and you would see
We
that.
do.
Here we go.
We told you about the sunrise sunset.
Beautiful. Way to go, Jaren.
He
Just
always
wanted to
talks
fix
to
that.
himself like a lunatic. Everybody
So this is
tuning in
the
right
Andrew
now.
Marsh.
He's always like,
sphere
come
model.
on, get that right.
And-
Oh, come on.
Let's move it over here. So
No,
no
let's-
matter where you go on this globe. Now, remember that they map the Earth on the globe. Nobody
Pause
can
it.
disagree with that.
One
That's
other
where-
thing, we've been covering Jaren for 9 years, and all he's done, so we explained that Matt Powerland was a plant as well. Matt Powerland, all he did was had a shirt with a globe on it. He went around, so all subliminal programming is putting the picture. So Jaren has been constantly, all he's ever done was shown the ISS, shown rockets launching, and shown globes. The entire time he's done this. He's never actually worked on a complete, correct, actual understanding of the flat earth. Nor does he have any videos proving flat earth. The only thing he did was Kanagawa, which we said was disinformation, created by Sly Sparkane. It was Sly Sparkane did a video and showed you how he made all those beyond the horizon observations. Listen, if you hear someone saying they can see beyond the horizon, they're duping you. You can't see beyond the horizon. I mean, so here he is. He's got the Andrew Marsh up, and let's go.
where they have it mapped. You can say, oh, well, Jaren, I don't think we live there. Sure, believe that for now. But the map of the Earth is on the globe. So how would it be that any one of us can go to any location on the Earth? And the
I can
sunrise,
wrap
sunset
the
time will
map
match
to
what's on
any
SunCal,
shape you want with
which
3D
comes
meshing,
from the
Jaren.
sphere model.
Doesn't
The
prove
sphere
it.
model predicts all sunrise, sunset times for every
No, it
location on
doesn't.
the Earth, for every day of the year, for every year that there's been in the
Wrong.
past, and for every year in the future.
All right, let's go back to it. This is where it comes from.
There it is. From ground-based
know.
measurements, Jaren.
On a flat plane, where you can go anywhere, any day of the year, and this shows you the path of the sun around the observer on a fixed and stationary plane, anywhere on Earth. It's got the rise and set times. It's accurate to 100th of a degree per second. All right, this is what is really witnessed here. This is what is used in the construction industry. This right
Wait.
here.
Can you
is-
zoom in and show me the shadows on this one, please?
No,
What? Why not? Show me the shadows,
No.
Jason. I want to see that. Show me the buildings leaning away from each other and the curvature. What? You can't?
no, it's not usable.
Oh, it's a fake toy.
It's a fake toy.
Thanks. Okay.
The flat Earth has never predicted one sunrise or sunset time or angle anywhere on the Earth, any hour of the day, or any day of the year, or any year of the millennium.
No, it's so.
So the score is literally infinity to zero.
No, but see, he just takes our arguments, every single one of them. If you want to do it from SunCalc, if you want to do it from Mooncalc, any one of these programs,
dayandnight.com.
yeah, every single one of these has the sun rising from Earth and setting into Earth.
Rotating around an observer equidistantly based on tilted latitudes.
Yeah, so I mean, he went to Punta Arenas. Now your circle of sight is going to be on a scale more like this, right? And here's how the sun rises from the Earth and sets back into the Earth in a person's circle of sight. All these predictions come from a flat and stationary plane.
But
So
Jared
do you
just
think the flat
lies.
Earth has a good running? Do you think they have a chance to come back? They're going to fight from the
Yeah.
ground up?
No coming
No.
back.
What we've got is we've got a lot of people who have adopted the flat Earth as their mantra. And let me explain why this is a problem. So if you've got Mark Sargent on his show telling people things like, oh, well, these guys are paid off And he's trying to hide the fact
You are.
that the flat earth is not able to answer anything. It doesn't provide any explanations. It doesn't provide any predictions. And it's time to just let it go. And I don't know why
The flat version makes the predictions. This one doesn't.
I have to be the one to say this, because it should be obvious to anybody that's been involved. But instead, people will make up anything. And I mean anything. Well, Jaren, couldn't it be a reflected, holographic, inverted, helium, water? I mean, just anything that they can say.
That's the shit that Jaren was making up. All right, for the last 8 years.
He's the one that came up with Joe Hanvey's model, trying to debunk us.
All right, so I think right now might be a good time for another break, and then when we come back,
Let's
we'll
go.
see if we can get through the rest of this thing.
Let's do it.
I started looking for a new way out. Stranded on an island, there's nothing but the ocean now. Every second is a battleground. Over the horizon, can anybody hear me shout? When I try to pick a fight, know that I was going under. And if it don't feel right, blame it on the weather. It's another night, breathing into blood and thunder. Tell me how I'm meant to pretend I could be the last one killing the pain, changing like the seasons, wishing for rain. Don't stand me up to reason all over again. 'Cause I'm dying here, but everything ends. If I'm left alone, I'm bound to drown. Don't you hear the silence, broken by the siren sound? If I swim, they'll only drag me down. I'm tired of the violence, it's hard to get my head around. When I try to pick a fight, it's only 'cause I'm going under. And if it don't feel right, I'll blame it on the weather. It's another night, breathing into blood and thunder. Castles only I can defend. I could be the last one killing the pain, changing like the seasons, wishing for rain. Don't stand me up to reason all over again. 'Cause I'm dying here, but everything ends. I could be the last one killing the pain, changing like the seasons, but wishing for rain. Don't stand me up to reason all over again. 'Cause I'm dying here, but everything ends. If I fall too far, I'm not living down like a dying star. It's over and out. I drop my gun and I hit the ground. Now I drop slowly off the ground. I could be the last one killing the pain, changing like the seasons, but wishing for rain. Don't stand me up to reason all over again. 'Cause I'm dying here, but everything ends. Everything ends. Everything ends. Everything ends. Yeah, I'm dying here, but everything ends.
We are back.
That song there was by the Architects. Everything, including Jeranism and his lies, ends. Right? Let's go. Let's get into this second half, third half.
Yeah, so we're going to find out about Robbie getting benched, and Jaren's going to take offense at that.
But I mean, he wasn't benched. He was gone.
He also lied and said Robbie in 2019 had full knowledge of the Jimmy Kimmel team that they were going to prank us when they attended the conference. He provided no proof of that. There was a man in costume pretending to be a flat earther as part of Jimmy Kimmel's team, but Robbie wasn't aware of that plan. Excuse me. He did know a film crew was there, though they had not, was there though, and they were allowed to film. Mark lied and said because of Robbie was essentially benched from the conference.
Hold on a second. Pause it. Jaren's reading a script?
Yeah.
What? Wait a minute.
He's reading Robbie's responses.
Oh,
like
this isn't. He was done Robbie's thing a long time ago. What is he reading now?
Yeah, but he's still on script. I mean, his whole show is a script.
That's why he's not on camera, because he's literally reading a script.
Yeah, and if you speed this up a little bit more, like I was going through it, it becomes extremely obvious as you go through this section right here that this is a scripted response Jaren's reading.
Because Robbie was essentially benched from the conference scene, you're not doing conferences anymore, and luckily for him, the pandemic started in the following year, and then Karen B had to scramble, and she ran every conference from then on the East Coast. This is a lie because no one benched Robbie. Robbie decided to take a step back from the conference organizing without anyone directing him in any way to do so, and Karen on her own and independently decided to do the conferences. Not because some direction to do so. Mark claimed we pushed him off that side, meaning Robbie, and that was a lie. Let's listen a little bit more.
And in 2018, he repeated the same, in 2019, he repeated the same thing in Dallas, where he let the Jimmy Kimmel team in with full knowledge what they were going to do. They were going to prank us, and they stayed until my set, and they finished, and they did like an 8-minute skit on Late Night Television with Jimmy.
Listen, everybody, Jason and I have been documenting, right, the entire time, all of the conferences. We even paid for them. We even paid to watch them. We gave Robbie the money. We paid for them when we had to pay to watch them a couple of times, okay? And we covered them and we showed it all. Like they had one where Dick Hummer got everybody to yell, "We're not retarded." We're not crazy. We're not crazy. They had the craziest people there, completely in script. Robbie had Logan Paul show up and punk them all, right? Or whatever his name. I don't know. Is that the right one? David Weiss was licking his lips, staring at him like it was disgusting. Okay, we've seen this over and over again with the same crew. Jaren. The only difference this time is it seems like Mark is willing to die a martyr for the truth, and he's willing to stick up for flat Earth. Like I said, I might be wrong about Mark. I hope I am.
Yeah, well, Mark does talk about benching Robbie Davidson coming up here.
Because of that.
But he had no full knowledge of that. That's just a Mark lie.
Robbie was essentially benched from the Flat Earth conference scene.
Another lie.
He did quit.
We said, you're not doing conferences anymore. And luckily for him, the pandemic started the very next year. And then
we said, so there's a group of people that were telling Robbie what was going to happen. We said, you're benched.
So hang on. If everybody wants to know the actual drama that was taking place as to why Robbie quit, it was because Dean O'Dell went there and did a whole sermon about Jesus, 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 and called them all Satanists, right? There was a huge fight. Then they had a Muslim girl go in, and she started heckling Dean, right? And then so what they ended up doing was there was more Satanists who were into the flat Earth. They didn't want Robbie running it anymore. They did bench him. Jaren is lying through his teeth here. They stopped Robbie because Robbie was pro-Christian at the time. He obviously is against the Bible now. And they brought Karen in because she was a witch, an outwardly open witch who didn't want anything to do with the Christianity. That was what happened. Okay. Don't try to bring up all these other lies. Mark is telling the truth. They had to stop Robbie because it was too Christian. They had to separate it out. There was the small stage for the Christian stuff, and the big stage was Marty Leeds. Who else was Jason Lingram? I can tell you the specific speakers who got the big stage and what they presented as opposed to what the Christian flat earth community was actually. Matt Long, Robbie Davidson, Mark Sargent, Rob Skiba. They got segregated, and then Karen took over, and then there wasn't any Christian anymore. There was also Zen Garcia who was brought in back when Robbie was running it. That's the only truth of it. Everything else that they're telling you is a lie.
And the witch, Karen Bitch, started doing her conferences in Shriner Hall.
Shriner Hall, right? Literally, we were like, what are they doing here? It's like they could tell us that you're not a Freemason more than show us that you're a Freemason without telling us. Do your conferences in Shriner Halls now.
scramble, and she ran every conference from then on the
Who's we said? Who's this? We said that this happens and this happens.
The dictators of the fake flat
Because it
earth
doesn't seem to
cult.
be the case at all. Let's continue.
East Coast, and it was brilliant. Karen, love you. Thank you for doing that, including all the Flattoberfest, which pinnacled.
All right, we can jump up a little bit here.
A lot of them weren't even in October. They weren't serving like sausages. Where were the beer? What do they call, Jason? The things you drink out of at Oktoberfest? I mean, they ruined that. Steins. They ruined that whole festival too. And we were telling them, hey, you guys, there's no pressurized pizza dome. Stop saying this stuff. Stop trying to tell everybody it's biblical too. And they still, to this very day, do it.
All right, so here it's going to turn out that Robbie Davidson was DJ Curious's hero.
Yeah,
DJ,
I'm sorry, DJ.
Because Celebrate Truth has been a strong inspiration. Half our community members are strong Christians. Was inspirational to a lot of people, including DJ. And you can chime in if you want, if you don't get choked up, which is DJ watched a lot of Celebrate Truth. This was a lot of content that he...
And basically, just to remind people, this was so disappointing to watch because, first of all, you've got Lisbeth there for her first time on the show. Well, she was there as a guest, but now she's there replacing Patricia. And basically, he tells a lie for 2 hours. So all of us are sitting there like, okay, now Lisbeth believes the lie because why would Mark just get on the show and just
Jared,
tell a different
you don't
version of
care
events,
about Lisbeth,
which is what happened. So that's a problem.
Poor
Not to
Lisbeth.
mention, people are going to take what he's saying as being true because they think he's got some sort of authority or that he has the inside baseball on it, and he does not. He's actually just making things up.
That he digested.
No, we documented it too. And Jaren's the one that's misconstruing and trying to act like this isn't the way it went down. What Mark's saying is the way it went down. We were there. We witnessed it. We've got it on our channels. Jaren's just a liar.
Digested over the years. True?
Absolutely true. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I sat here in this living room getting to know just the history through the lens of Celebrate Truth, which did showcase conferences and podcast interviews, your stuff, other people's content, movies, videos, just an amalgamation of flat earth content. And what was interesting about it to me is, look, I know, Mark, you're always so kind saying like, oh, DJ, you're perfect, blah, blah, blah. Absolutely not. And I was on a journey where I was seeking hope, you guys. I was looking at the world like, what is going on out here?
I don't
where
mind
is God?
DJ.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I just wanted to know that this isn't all just for nothing.
Yeah.
And
So
I was
pause it.
researching all sorts.
So obviously when this guy showed up, I thought because I'm a DJ, everybody that's tuning in. If you don't know, it's one of my hobbies. I've got a SoundCloud and, I do live mixes and stuff. And I thought they were bringing him out to mock me. And after time went on and I heard him more and more, I started to realize that his name is DJ. His name might be Don or whatever his name is. My name's RJ, Ron James. So DJ seems to be a kind-hearted, well-spoken. He cares about the truth. He cares about flat earth. I really don't have anything negative to say about him. He conducts himself in a calmly manner. He doesn't, if anything, I'd like to see a little bit more passion, a little bit more, strength. Stand up for yourself, DJ. Start to speak more your truth. And Lisbeth too. We don't really know Lisbeth. We know that she has this other app that she's on that got brought out in the pandemic. She's got the Flat Earth Gang and she's into, scientific measurements, and one of her good friends works for NASA. That's what we know about her. We want to come on to Strange World and we want to share with their audience biblical, or not biblical, just virtual reality. We don't want to bring the biblical into it. We don't want to bring characters like Patricia into this. We just want to come on there and show you guys how the stereographic reality works with, the coordinate system, with how the maps work, why you don't need to worry about a single pole pressurized pizza dome anymore. We can actually show you all these things. We'd like to hear the feedback from you guys. We want to hear from Lisbeth. We want to hear from DJ Curious. If he's curious, we want to show him and that he can have his own understanding and his own opportunities to question back. And Mark too. Jason, you reached out to Mark many times back in the day. You know what, Mark, we'll end up giving you a call at some time and we'll just talk about this stuff like men.
Mm-hmm.
Sorts of things. I was reading the scripture. Now, when you're on that journey, it doesn't just change you overnight. I'm still on, and that's what it meant to me.
They absolutely don't. And let me springboard off of DJ. Last week, the mission statement from Robbie's channel read something like this. I'm sorry, exactly like this. I cut and pasted it, Robbie, for posterity, because I knew what was coming down, and we'll get to that in 1 second. The channel's mission statement.
Let me just say what he just said. So Robbie had it like I have. You have your little statement on your YouTube channel. If you all of a sudden decide that you're going to no longer believe in the flat earth, the first thing you should do is go and take down any statement on your channel that says that you think the earth's flat. Of course. That's the right thing to do. Mark is treating this as if he'd uncovered something. Let me read what the mission statement was before he took it down. Well, yeah, because he changed his belief.
Well, he's documenting it, which is good.
It promotes God's truth and expose the world lies. What if everything that NASA and science has taught you about the earth, sun, moon, stars, and space was a lie? What if Satan wanted to destroy the foundations of God's word with perverting the truth of the enclosed flat earth we live in from the very start? It might sound crazy, but take the journey and study this topic because it might be the most shocking truth we ever discovered about the world you live in. Open your Bible and read all the verses describing God's creation again. Evolution is a lie and teaching nothing more than you were just an accident in a big bang. Monkey man science is all part of the great deception. Don't believe the lies. That was his mission statement last week. You know what this week?
Another good thing that people don't know is we actually created Illuminati cards for all these characters. So when they flip or whatever they do, we're going to be able to update the cards. We've still got all that. I guess we're going to have to make a change to Patricia Steer's, right? I don't remember. Did I make a Robbie Davidson one? I don't think I did because he hasn't been doing anything.
Yeah, he was gone.
Crickets. It's gone.
Right.
Like, what do you replace it with? John something, I think. He initially replaced it with nothing, and then he replaced it with a single Bible verse.
Scripture.
And then he replaced the enclosed world dome thing, which is described there, with a crown of thorns. And the headstone that you mentioned, basically say out of the blue, this is where we're going to get into the meat of this. Out of the blue, Robbie Davidson, with no foreshadowing, no warning, says, "Oh, that's it. I'm a globalist now. Good night, everybody." It's like the followers of the channel, the people, it's like just shockwaves absolutely sent through the flat earth.
Except for the fact that he posted on Facebook exactly the reason why. Clearly, he didn't come up with that on a whim in a second. It's a whole post. It's a whole. It's written out. It's thought through. It's accurate. It's clearly took.
Tell us more how much you love what Robbie wrote, Jaren.
It was concise. It was profound. It was inspiring.
So fake.
Let's talk about false dichotomies for a second.
Your model that we were playing with. It would be impossible if we lived anywhere else to map it onto a globe and it match observations. Again, one more time. It would be impossible. You can do projectionist. You can have a flat world and you could say, "Hey, Mr. Projectionist, Mr. Mapmaker, can you please project this flat ground onto that sphere?" They would be able to do it. Yep, we can do it mathematically. Great. Now, how are they going to make that new sphere, which is fake, they don't actually live there, they live on a flat earth. How are they going to make the sun going around the flat earth jive with the observations on the sphere? It's impossible.
No, it's
cannot lie to
basic.
No, we've been showing it over and over and over that here's your flat map, right?
Yeah.
Here's your flat map, and here's Miami. Here's the equator.
And you can literally put any coordinate system map you want on the left, and you can still have it align and work correctly, right?
Yeah.
I've been saying you can map it out limitless ways, Jaren. With the only thing that changes is the tilt, depending on your latitude. That's it, and your longitude. That's the only thing that changes. We've been trying to say it's a limitless projection system, and it's actually a virtual reality, and it's actually centered on your location and everyone else's location at the same time. That's why it's a virtual reality.
Right now, this is centered to the prime meridian and to the equator. If I click anywhere off of this is still all the same land masses, but now it's being drawn correctly for wherever I'm located.
You just debunked Jaren.
Yeah,
every click. Oh, look at this, Jaren. Here's another way that we can predict
Limitless.
It's limitless. It's so ridiculous.
Panama.
His false dichotomy, again, it's all you need to see to know that he's lying again, that he's continuing to lie. And now it's even worse because now he's going against the truth of the earth. Before, he was actually teaching people that the earth was fixed and it was flat. Well, I don't know if he was teaching that it was fixed. He might have been an upward riser. Who knows?
Yeah, but he's got to say that, well, listen.
People about where they live. unless nobody cares about observations. But people do care about observations. In fact, it's how boats went around. It's everything was with
He
the sun.
denied them for
Traveling, longitude,
years.
latitude, all that comes from it. So that's the weird thing here. Is it just seems like what flat Earth has become is this like a stubborn kid that you can't get to leave your house.
What?
Okay. There is no place at scientific discussions for ideas that have no map, no model, no explanations,
We've got
no predictions.
Got 'em.
That's what the
We-
final experiment.
You're the
We
one
had
who don't.
predictions.
Who would've
You
thought?
don't have predictions.
We had predictions of the path of the sun at Union Glacier in our very first podcast covering it that were accurate to 100th of a degree per second. I mean,
Jerry. Yeah, we
um,
don't exist. We're not real. We're nothing we think is real, right? We live in a simulation, is what he says. We don't even know what water is. Will Duffy said, right? You literally had to tell him what you think it's H2O. I mean, it was just so ridiculous. These people. Let's keep going. We're
yeah,
almost
here's
done.
Pat being upset.
Add a little disclaimer to his app stating that during a certain time of year, the app isn't correct around Antarctica. Also, Mark kept advertising the app on Strange World, and it made her uncomfortable.
Still
She asked
does.
Mark if the show could stop promoting it for a while until we could get it sorted out. Mark said no. That's a good app. This gave her a feeling of loss of confidence in Mark and the community in general, and she started feeling like she needed to step down from Flat Earth in a private, quiet way without
So
fanfare.
pause it. She literally couldn't even make it 6 months without stepping down. She quit. She came back. She quit. She came back. She took her channel down. She came back. DJ Curious came on. She quit. She came back. The whole entire thing, she could barely get through what she got through. It was like pulling teeth. It was painful to watch. It was one of the most painful experiences. She was their podcasts were a train wreck. They couldn't run OBS. Everything they did was wrong. Just everything was a nightmare. And it was, I couldn't even understand why. I kept trying to think, what is going on with this crew? And now it looks like there's a chance that it could be actually Mark is a real character and the rest of them are against him. That's what we're starting to see here. It looks like there's a
Yeah.
possibility.
I have to talk to him.
Yeah, Flat Earth in Times because it's one of the most popular virtual reality movies, which is
What?
I come from the video game world.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little interesting. So Mark has talked about Earth being a video game before, and he's mentioned virtual reality. It was about a year ago we covered it, and it's coming up again, everybody. So this is big. Check this out.
Oh yeah, Flat Earth in Times because it's one of the most popular virtual reality movies, which is
Right.
I come from the video game world. I played video
Jaren's
games.
skipping it.
I produced video games.
Oh, that's good.
I lived and breathed video games and everything that they wanted to do. And I was there when they first put the sun in the sky when it came to gaming. And it's like, okay, what do we do with this? And it's like, well, the sun's just going to follow whoever. It's like, what if there's more than one person? It's just going to follow everybody individually, and they're not going to know any different. The thing that Austin has said, which is, the sun is unique. I don't know. There's different sayings. I don't know if Lisbeth, if you guys got a different word for it, different perspective on the sun,
So let's see what he makes
why
up
the
here.
parallax rays look the same for everybody, no matter where you are, on the ground.
Huh?
It's like, oh yeah, parallax is right there. No, I'm 20 miles away, and the parallax is right there, and you could point to it, and you point to different spots.
That's just bullshit.
David Weiss did that thing with the shadow.
Oh, it's not bullshit.
It's
It doesn't put the sun. What you guys have to figure out is why the sun is above Australia.
So
at
go to
noon for
Andrew
them.
Marsh. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go to Union Glacier Station and let's show how the 24-hour sun actually works in the SBVR model. Here it is. If everybody's tuning in, we just want to show you this is how we predicted it. So at this spot and location in the virtual reality, the sun has to do this. Once you get to that position, the sun stays above your head in the sky and circles around you locally too. It's not 93 million miles away. The sun is literally 15 miles away from you, the observer standing there. Right here it is. This is exactly how it works. This is the 100th of a degree per second.
Yeah, so that's Union Glacier. And if you want to see what it's like in Australia, you're just going to slide this over to Australia, and
this
there you
is
go.
exactly what they see. And this is not a globe Earth. Jaren will say, that we're taking globe Earth observations. This is a flat plane where you can actually import 3D models and check the sunrise and set angles with the shadows, with the sun literally rising. If you turn the nighttime on, you can see the sun goes under the flat plane of the Earth. That's what we've been saying. And we've been telling people this. Look, boom, it's gone under the Earth. It's going to rise again. Not only that, if you're into the Bible, which we are, and if you're into the extra canonical books, what are very important, you'll find out that the book of Enoch perfectly describes this model. This is Enoch's model. It has 6 gates in the east and 6 gates in the west, which the sun rises from and sets into, and so do the sun and the moon and all of the other stars that travel along the ecliptic. They all rise and set out of these gates. You can see them. It's hard to see because the dotted lines are a bit faint. When it's nighttime, you can see them a bit better. But this is how the sun perfectly was explained 5,000 years ago by Enoch.
Yeah, so there you can see the dotted lines a little bit better.
Those are the 6 gates on the east and 6 gates in the west that the sun rises from and sets into, as well as the moon and all the other luminaries that travel along the ecliptic plane. Now, we also have the fixed constellations, and then they do their rotations in the sky. And again, this is easily mapped out and proven on a flat, fixed, and stationary Earth.
All right, let's jump over. I want to play this section from Mark's video because Jaren is a conniving little bitch. He clipped out the area where Mark actually talks about virtual reality. Like, so let's go over to Mark's video quick, and let's see. We're looking for.
Was it 131 or 128?
I think it's let's start here. This is from Mark's video, and if you listen to Jaren's, you'll notice a whole section missing here.
Reflecting of all the windows, and it looks like, if you look right up close to it, it looks like the sun is right there. So why is it so hard, do you think, Mark, for the flat earth community to wrap, not everyone, but people out there that are not happy with the results of TFE? Why do you think that it's so hard for them to fathom that the sun could be in 2 places at one time? Refraction,
I'm stealing that word, reflection. That's a great word.
That's where I'm at.
I'm grabbing that. That's a t-shirt. That's awesome. Okay, it's something I've said on different occasions, which is, unfortunately, the general public is visual only. They don't like math. They don't like calculations. They don't like anything that they really, that they can't, if they have to get a pen and start writing stuff down, they're not going to do it. So when it came to,
he's calling people mentally lazy.
I was one of the reasons why it gained as much traction as it did is because the term was so simple and everybody knew it. You know what I mean? The flat earth, 2 syllables, they get it. Oh yeah, flat earth, that's dumb, because the conditioning, right? Since we were in school. Everything after that, as far as the sun being in multiple places or multiple light sources, I use The Matrix as an example many times because it's one of the most popular virtual reality movies, which is like the Matrix is now 26 years old, which is a long time. But even when it came out, it's been 26 years and there's still people that do not get it. They don't understand what a potential simulation is or virtual reality is. I come from the video game world. I played video games. I produced video games. I lived and breathed video games and everything that they wanted to do. And I was there when they first put the sun in the sky when it came to gaming. And it's like, okay, what do we do with this? And it's like, well, the sun's just going to follow whoever. It's like, what if there's more than one person? It's just going to follow everybody individually and they're not going to know any different. The thing that Austin has said, which is, the sun is unique. I don't know. There's different sayings. I don't know if Lisbeth, if you guys got a different word for it. Different perspective on the sun, or why the parallax rays look the same for everybody, no matter where you are on the ground. It's like, oh yeah, the parallax is right there. No, I'm 20 miles away and the parallax is right there. And you can point to it and you point to different spots. David Weiss did that thing with the shadows in the sheet. It's short answer, DJ. It's just tough for people to get it. Most people aren't 3-dimensional thinking, and I'll use a biblical thing. Which is, you've said many times, we're not going to fully understand this. This world was meant to not necessarily deceive us, but to keep us guessing. You know, it's a mystery that never ends. And
So
I'll
pause it.
use the
So I really like that Mark is going past regular pressurized pizza domism and venturing into a grander thought. This is what I've wanted. The things that I wanted Mark to do if he was a real character that was actually out here looking for truth. This is what I was looking for the past 8 years. So what he's trying to explain is why we want to have a chance to come on Strange World and present to your audience the actual easy, concise, single syllable type words that can articulate what this actual reality consists of. Now, again, Jason and I don't know everything, but this is what we've been working on simplifying for a very long time. So the earth wasn't created in such a way that you could never figure anything out, because the scriptures teach us that it is of a king to search out things. This was created for us to actually search out, and it comes down to your heart condition. Now, it was created in such a way that it has boundaries but doesn't have boundaries. Okay, what they've taught and learned is that if you put a rat into a cage and you have a small cage, the rats get fat, they die, they don't breed. Now, if you put it into a larger cage, they tend to be happier and live better lives. So there's so much sophistication put into this reality, as well as there being a opportunity for deception to be done so that people could actually choose, so that you could actually learn. And how could we tell the heart condition without having a fair and honest choice? If the sun was circling above our head doing parallel circles, we would all know that we lived on a pressurized pizza dome. If there was curvature, if you could take a picture from up in space and see the earth as a spinning sphere, there wouldn't be a debate on whether the earth was flat or not. If there was a dome that we could go to and knock on, everybody would know that we lived in a pressurized pizza dome, right? So it's not that the earth was deceptively created. It was created in an advanced, beautiful system where, and again, Mark's trying to explain. So it's sad, Jason, because they don't talk about the easy things to look at, is that we've all looked up into the sky, every single one of us, and seen the sun and the moon and seen clouds behind it and in front of it. That's telling us that sun is local, and that cloud bank is literally surrounding the sun and the moon. It's not being projected into it. It's not that the cloud is 93 million miles away from us. It's local. The sunspots on the ground show us how local it is. And what Mark's trying to articulate here is that when I go to a beach and I look up into the sky, along the water, I will see the light of the sun dancing and flickering straight to me. Jason can be 10 feet away from me, and he'll look up into the sky and the sun will dance and flicker straight to him. And we can set a camera up 50 feet away from us and the sunlight will dance and flicker into that position. The only thing that changes is we can see to a fixed horizon, which is called the vanishing point, and that is the square root of the height of the observer times 1.22459. And that's how we actually get the distance to the vanishing point. And this is a supernatural, biblical, virtual reality. And we've got so much more that we want to share with people so that you can see that the only way you can actually make a map is you have to actually have the latitudes and longitude specifically on that area. And it keeps it accurate. It's exactly the way that you would if you were in a virtual reality.
Yeah, one, it's so there is the ability now. The Bible speaks of it. It's fundamental truth number one, this grand illusion where, so if you're on a fixed and stationary plane, nobody's even been able to conceptualize a way of not having a creator. Nobody can even come up with a concept of how you could exist if you're on a flat and stationary plane without a creator. But if you could misconstrue Earth to be a ball and spinning, then you could come up with this concept of a big bang where everything came from nothing, and you could create atheists with such a theory. That's what the Vatican did. Mm-hmm. And so it allows a person to their heart, you know, if that's what you really want to believe, that you don't have a creator, then you go down that heliocentric big bang route. The person that actually pays attention and realizes, okay, fixed stationary plane, how can this be done? And then you see a stereographic map Then you see, oh, okay, because Earth has two poles, it can be projected in these different ways. And yes, okay, we're on a flat plane. So it allowed the possibility for people to be atheists, really.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Are we getting down to the wrapping of this up for today, or?
Well, I think, yeah, we'll probably put a pause on it right here. And,
sounds good, yeah.
And then if there's anything more left in it that we want to go through, we'll do it in the next one.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in again. Please leave a comment below. Thank you for everybody that participated in the chat. Again, Mark, I'm reaching out to you. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to throw anybody's names under the bus. I don't want to put you. So you were in the thumbnail tonight, Mark, but we were actually showing how we think that it might be David Weiss and Jaren who are actually trying to co-opt you and your message. You seem to be the honest one here that's willing to be martyred for the truth. And I find that admirable. And DJ Curious, I'd like to get your understandings. And DJ, did you know that Jason was like, he went to Bethel? He was like an upstanding Jehovah Witness, like, who then realized and discovered that the Jehovah Witnesses was like a cult. And like, what a great conversation DJ and Jason could have. I want to hear that. Lizbeth, brand new to the community, who seems super intelligent, super intuitive. I think I would love to hear your articulations on things that we share. I would love to share the clouds behind the sun and the moon with Strange World. We've got stuff that is never seen before. We've got presentations, and we could just, I would love to. So if anyone's tuning in and you're a friend of Mark's, or I don't know, is it DJ that does the booking now? We need to reach out. We need to like, let's make an agreement. We don't want to participate in like bashing people. We just want to bring the truth and share it and bring the light up and put it in the middle of the room and allow everybody to see it so that everybody has a fair opportunity. My call out for Jaren is a debate. I am ready. I'm ready. Will Duffy, MC2. Well, Will Duffy and MC Toon, I'm not going to debate you two until you've put out all of your different experiments. Each and every one, I want to go through point for point with you guys live in front of the whole world. And we're going to show just that you guys are actually taking our observations and back engineering them and trying to prevent everything that's wrong with the globe. You guys just say is right. And we're going to show that to the whole world. So again, thank you, everyone. Thank you to YD. Thank you to the Goldsmith for always bringing out the great new music. Thank you, Jason, for putting in all of your hard work. Listen, this might not have been what you guys think is, I don't know what you guys really think is great or whatever, but I'm excited and I'm grateful to be here tonight. And I can't wait for our next podcast. You can tune in tomorrow morning. There'll be a link here on the Awake Souls podcast channel to Rumble. I'm going to do a Rise and Grind. We're going to talk about the Epstein files and, Trump's actual really close friendship to Jeffrey. And could that have something to do with the way that things are being redacted, as well as World War III? It's turning out that Europe, like England and Canada, are going to go against the United States and Russia. And we've got so much more to actually get into, as well as, 9 new songs and a bunch of great, hilarious, brand new memes. You don't want to miss any of that. And I throw in this awesome stuff about healing, exercise, spirituality, dieting. It's just my passion. So I really hope that you guys can find that channel as well. I'll leave a comment below this video too to that podcast.
Where's the only place people are going to get this content, brother?
Only on the Yahawashai News Networks and maybe Strange World soon.
Words like violence break the silence. Come crashing into my little world. Painful to me, pierce right through me. Can't you understand? Oh, my little girl. All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. very unnecessary. They can only do harm. All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary.